thought we'd talk about something that one of our viewers asked us. Why don't you ever paint a portrait of someone smiling? Or actually the question particularly was, why don't you ever paint a portrait of yourself smiling?
Yeah, that's a tricky one.
That sure is.
Sometimes I think that I'm painting myself and I'm perfectly happy, but there's no smile there on the piece. And I sort of think that smiling is actually an action that you do to indicate something to another person. Like you smile to say hello. It's a social sort of communication, if you like. And so I think you can be perfectly happy but passive. And so then you paint a passive smile, or a passive face. A lot of people interpret that as being miserable or, not smiling, unhappy, if you like.
I think that's right, and I think that the smile actually takes muscles and a brain connection to create the smile. I know for myself, if I'm doing a self-portrait and I'm doing it in the mirror, for example, I'm working. So for me, when I'm working, I'm so fully focused and concentrated. There's nothing about a smile that would be entering in my scope within 50 miles. I mean, I'm really focused. And so part is that, but part really gets at the kind of the crux of what I'm looking for in a portrait. I'm very interested in the intuitive searching for that human existence. I'm very interested in the core of the human being and of the quiet part that we all hold that really is who we are. And it isn't about smiling,
Yes.
It's something physical.
Your portraits are not about being quiet.
That's true.
Neither am I. They're actually really full of emotion. So do you consider a smile to be sort of an affectation in a piece?
Well, that's a great question, and that's where I think the reason we wanted to talk about it is because it's I don't feel exactly a heaviness about a piece that I'm painting, or I don't look at it and think it's really dark or deep. Well, it is deep, and I guess that's the difference. It's not a veneer, this is what you see. I have purple glasses on, this is how my face is formed. I'm able to wear earrings or I'm not.
So it's self at a different level. And so then the smile is kind of like a superficiality. Is that what you're saying?
Well, it's an exterior layer, and I'm interested in the layers, and everything I'm looking for in my work is all about the internal, and all about getting beneath the layers. And if it's a portrait of me or someone else, it's about the internal.
And I think the question that we were asked was, why don't we ever paint with a smile, even like the Mona Lisa? And in fact, I think it's really interesting that the Mona Lisa is probably the only portrait that most people can think of that is painted with a smile, historically speaking. I think as techniques change and the whole genre of portraiture gets kind of exploded and sort of dismembered, if you like, there are lots of variations. But historically, people aren't painted with smiles, and I think it is that it does appear in a painting, which is essentially a sort of a static thing. It does appear to sometimes be false or unrealistic, maybe. So I think there's that as well.
Well, and I think too, 100 years ago or 200, if you were sitting for a portrait, you're not going to smile for 4 days in a row.
That would be agonizing.
I mean, can you imagine? So
now, without photography.
Without photography, and now I can even take a picture with my iPhone and make it. I've actually painted from the image from my iPhone over a course of 3 or 4 months on a portrait, which might sound bizarre, but it's quite an interesting way of incorporating technology, and in that everything is moving so fast in our world.
I know why they never paint with smiles, because before